In this video, I'm going to be giving you an example of why it's worth keeping one of these to hand all the time. Roll titles. YouTube, Brian James here, and good to see you again. And I have an example of putting my money where my mouth is to a degree. I've said on this channel hundreds of times probably, always keep a camera with you, always keep a nice neat small camera with you. Make it something that you can just instantly get hold of when you want to. And this was put to the test yesterday. I decided I was going to have a coffee with my friend Paul. We quite often have a coffee on a Friday afternoon and talk about photography and lots of other things. We'll put the world to rights. Paul's somebody who's loaned me some equipment in the past to do reviews on. For instance, the 100 to 400 Lumix lens. If you have a look up there should be a link. It was his lens that he very kindly loaned me for that. So we get on really well with our photography. And we always bring a camera with us anyway, but we were going into town, in my local town of Brampton, just yesterday, and we decided we're going to meet about 1 o'clock when we normally do. Brampton's a small town, and it's really pushed for parking, so you can imagine my frustration when the whole town seemed to be full of cars for some reason, no parking spaces. Then I realised that the cars which are coming into the town to park were all classic cars. They were all cars from, you know, collectors' cars. There was a Porsche 356, Porsche 911, at least 3 E-Type Jaguars that we saw there. There was a very, very rare 1956 Bristol 405 2-litre. What else was there? There was a couple of MGBs, one a Roadster, one a soft top. All sorts of things. And a 1927 4.5-litre Bentley, which is not something you see every day. And that would have been something nice to see. It was nice to see. But I also thought to myself, do you know what? This is an opportunity just to get the camera out and shoot with it. Well, I always keep the camera, usually my GX8. This is it's actually starting to get a little bit beaten up now because it's starting to get a bit rough, because this is a camera which it's always with me. There's always, the GX8 is always somewhere with me, and usually with either this or a 12 to 32 lens on. This is the 14 to 140, the Lumix lens. This is the Mark 1. And again, there's a link to the review on this one, which I did a little while ago. But quite often I'll have the little 12 to 32, which I'm recording this video on. And again, I'll put a link up there to a review on that one on my camera, especially the 12 to 32, because it's tiny. It really falls down flat. But this is a neat camera for me. It's a little bit bigger than most of the rangefinder cameras. If I was wanting to just have something to keep in my pocket, I would probably go for something like a GX9. A GX9 would be ideal, especially with that 12 to 32 on. But I like this camera. It's become neat, it's become usable, and it's something that I just carry around with me. And it gave me and Paul the opportunity to just go out and take some photographs. Totally unplanned, totally on the fly. Just take some photographs of something which interested us and get that moment, capture that moment and have a bit of fun. So we're wandering around these cars and we're looking at them. Beautiful vehicles which were obviously lovingly restored or lovingly cared for. If they've never been restored, they were in fantastic condition. And see something like that, but instantly capture it for the future, to get an image out of it, to do the very thing I say at the end of these videos, which is to have fun with your photography. Now, I've talked recently about the problems that we have taking photographs in public, with somebody having a go, but yesterday was the total opposite, because the people who had the cars out, they're on a treasure hunt, a car treasure hunt. But those people, they'd driven all the way through the beautiful Lake District of Cumbria, and then eventually ended up in Brampton, where I live. And they were going to have lunch there in one of the local hotels. And their idea to be out was to be out in the nice weather, in the sunshine, enjoying their vehicles. And because we were showing in, because I was showing an interest, but certainly we, with myself and Paul, and a lot of the bystanders, in looking at something which is their passion, we were allowed without any problems to explore our passion of taking photographs of them. And I had a really nice chat. The couple who were in the Bentley had a nice chat with. A couple of the drivers with the E-types, because I didn't get all the E-types there, but a couple of the drivers of the E-types had a really nice chat with them. There was an XK150 as well. I forgot about that. That's probably my favourite of the lot, because if I was to have a classic car, I think an XK150 would be the one. But anyway, what I'll do is I'll show you some of the photographs at the end, just as I'm finished on here. So keep watching for those photographs. They're not great photographs. I don't care. They were fun to do. They were enjoyable to do. And it gave me an opportunity just to get the camera out, just to pull it out, start shooting. It was already set up. I always leave the camera set up, and you might be wondering what I normally leave it set up to. Well, I'll tell you, because this is my instant go-to sort of setting. I always leave the ISO on auto, because I don't want to be messing around. I want to get the shot in quick. I can always change any of these settings once I've started shooting, but I want to be able to pick a camera up and start shooting. So I have it on auto ISO. I have it on auto white balance. I usually leave it on aperture priority, and that gives me the opportunity just to fire away and be able to get some there. And I usually leave the aperture round about the f4 to f8 area, round about that middle area and things, depending on what lens is on. And I usually have my my exposure to the auto exposure to a fairly sort of across the board sort of thing. So I'll just do an average exposure setting on that. I can always adjust it slightly with the plus and minus on here, the exposure compensation, if it doesn't look good in the back, in the viewfinder. That's where I tend to leave this. I usually find that that's ideal for just picking up, shooting, and just get straight on with it. As I say, if I want to, once I've got myself settled in and realise what's going on, then I can adjust those settings. But this is the one where you can pick it up and get the shot and make sure you've got something in the can before it goes away. And that's where I tend to have my camera set. Anyway, I'll show you some of those photographs in a moment, but before I do, I just thought I'd like to say thank you to these wonderful people who are my Patreon patrons, who I keep on talking about, and they are wonderful people. If you'd like to become a Patreon patron, there's a link in the description below. You'd be more than welcome to come along and join the crew and get your name amongst this list. Also, if you would like to give me a one-off support for the channel, you can buy me a coffee in the PayPal link below. But the most important thing, if you would, is to give me a thumbs up on this video. And if you can hit the subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber. Neither of those cost you anything, but it does mean an awful lot to getting YouTube to spread these videos to more and more people. So what have you got? Do you take a camera out? Do you always have a camera in your pocket? Let me know in the comments below. I'm really interested in all that. And if so, what camera and what lens do you normally have in your pocket on a day-to-day basis? And do you use it? Is it something that you just take out and take shots with on the spur of the moment, whether good or bad? Let me know in the comments below. I'm really interested to hear that. Or if you don't take a camera out, why not? Is it something that you only plan for your photography, or do you not feel inspired by what's around you? Let me know in the comments below, because I'm really interested to hear. But until the next time, this is Brian James, that Micro Four Thirds guy, saying bye-bye. I'll see you soon, and keep on having fun with your photography. Bye-bye.